All right. I think we're online. Are we online? It looks like it. Hello, everyone. I'm changing up some audio settings tonight, so just bear with me a little bit. Hopefully I can be heard and the music can be heard to a lesser degree. Alright, cool. Yeah, I've just got some people talking to me a little bit off screen and checking my audio for me, so I got some stories to tell. So I've spent the entire last week rather pathetically begging for some help with this 3D model stuff. I've been trying to use JO Engine's default map editor. Let me go ahead and throw that up on screen so you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, the JO map editor, which is like the default tool for dealing with just importing stuff into a format that JO Engine can run with. So, to my knowledge, it's pretty good with dealing with sprite sheets, making 2D levels. I think that's basically its main purpose, is making the 2D levels. You can see the example of there is a 3D or 2D Sonic demo that you can get with JO Engine as one of the samples that you can build and run and play. I'll pull it up in a little bit. And that's essentially what it's good for. But if you see over here, I don't know what your screen resolution's like. You might want to zoom in a bit for this one. There is this 3D option here, where you should be able to import 3D models in a couple formats. There is the wavefront format, the OBJs, and then the collada format, which I think is mostly for people who use Maya, and that's a dot. I forget what it is. It's a dot something or dot DAE, I believe. So that was basically this entire week was me struggling with this tool, struggling with some example code to try and get just 3D anything on screen. And then once I start going on the forums or JO Engine forum and requesting help, throwing my head against the wall over and over again, I end up actually getting some help from not only XL2 himself, who's created just a suite of tools that actually does this a lot better than the JO map editor. No offense to Johannes. But also Ponut64, who actually basically held my hand through the coding process to get my textures right, to get my models right in Blender, and to make sure that the code is actually displaying something on the screen. So before I actually get into any code tonight, I wanted to try and focus on the 3D portion. So you'll notice if you're on Twitch right now, you'll see the 3D birthday blast. Today's actually my birthday, and so thank God that I finally figured this out in time so that the stream wouldn't be a complete disaster. I'm hoping to do just a bunch of 3D modeling tonight, and depending on how many people show up on stream and make requests, maybe we can make a few 3D assets. Hopefully not all of them, or just requests to make a 3D penis or something. So first off, let's just start out with the example code that Ponut64 had provided with me. There's a forum thread here where you can see me begging and see Ponut holding my hand. Oh yeah, Ponut wants me to remind everyone that XL2 is a hero. Okay, yeah, just reading something real quick. So Ponut64 wants to remind everyone XL2 is a hero, not only for basically creating Sonic Z-Treme or Z-Treme, which is in itself like a miniature Sonic game of pretty much exactly what you'd expect for a Sonic game on the Saturn in 3D, which is a surprisingly good effort for a single man. But also, he created the model converter, some conversion tools for textures, etc., etc. So let me go ahead and link this forum thread on the stream, and then obviously on YouTube. All the links I would post are always in the description. And while I'm here, let me also drop the link for, more importantly, this model converter, the one that I'm using right now. So here we go. So the model, essentially what it does is it takes in wavefront files, the .objs, and converts it over into a .ztp file, which is Z-Treme polygons format. That's, I guess. He can name it after his game if he wants. He made it and it works remarkably well. So what I have is I've had just a basic cube, call it test box. You'll see I've been playing with some other examples here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try and kind of document the whole process so that no one ever has to go through this again, because I've actually been poking through the forums and saw that someone else had very similar problems to what I had. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the bottom, make some textures, put it on a basic model, and then throw it up on here, see what happens. So we got our text box. Let's just run the game. Ah, crap. See, this is what I mean when Sigwin always gives me crap. Okay, but this one, this looks like it's loading, so let's switch over. So you'll notice some garbage in the background. I think that's just a leftover from the fact that we're playing with memory addresses inside the code, and we're loading some stuff up. I don't know how abusive we are being to the emulated Saturn. That's fixable basically by setting a background image, which I guess probably maybe sometime tonight I'll get around to. All I really wanted to focus on is just getting the 3D models themselves on the screen. So right now you just see a square, red square, but we start rotating it. It's a cube. Yeah, nothing special, but I'll show you the Blender file for how we made this, and then like I said, I'll start over from the beginning to try and document the whole process. So this cube that I'll just rotate in and out. You'll see, if you recall before, the objects that I was putting on screen, the metal crates, were these. They were these kind of pre-rendered, not pre-rendered, pre-rendered is the wrong word, hard-coded objects. Because the create cube function is hard-coded into Joe engine. So the create cube function was there, and then the texture file was kind of like manually imposed on it, using basically the same demo code that I just copied over from Johannes' samples. And if you remember, there is no backface culling, which was one of my difficulties on the last stream. Just trying to figure out how to get that to work. Turns out that's not happening inside the engine so much as happening when you define your 3D model. Hard-coded models, I don't even know how I would go about making a backface culled model in the way that I did in order to create the cube. But inside of Blender, it's literally just a checkbox. So I'll go inside of this guy, and then everything disappears. And that's because the inside faces of this cube are not being rendered. Here, I'm outside, I go inside, I come back outside, just rotate it a bit again. And, you're inside the cube, you don't see anything that goes on underneath. But we can remake this cube and make some faces inside out, basically. Try to create a kind of an interesting look to it. You'll notice the bottom and top are supposed to be white, but you can't really see it because I didn't implement any new controls onto this example code. So the example code rotates, and it changes frame rate, but it doesn't go up or down. So, it goes in and out, of course. So let me go back into this model, change it up a bit, and then we'll try to do a little bit of more of a complex model. So I believe, yeah, there we go. So here's the actual model that I'm using. So I know the display on the right usually shows everything I'm actually using. Maybe I can alter it for this stream. Let's let me see. There you go. Change this line over to Blender for 3D. Blender plus paint.net. There we go. And, okay, so now, I'll have a record on the right, and I'll probably change it back or something, depending. Or I might just keep it like this. Just modify the stream format as I go. So back to the model. For those who don't know, Blender is just a giant collection of keyboard shortcuts that happen to have a very useful 3D creation engine behind it. It's kind of a difficult thing to try and figure out what you're doing in Blender at first, but I've been using it enough where I can comfortably do some really basic crap. I don't know anything about animations yet, but obviously I'm going to have to learn if I'm going to finish making this game. So starting, we'll just see, you have these textures on the right here. Pure white, pure red, pure blue. We can highlight, or let's go in the edit mode first. Edit mode, we're going to look at these faces using this button here. And we can select all the materials that pure white is applied to. So you see the top and bottom, which we weren't really seeing before. Because of just an angle of display issue, had that color applied to it. Notice that you don't actually see the colors in Blender, and that's because the colors are texture files. They're the TGAs, and the color textures aren't applied inside of Blender. They're just applied as the name of the material you're applying it, and the conversion tool will automatically translate them onto these faces or the ZTP file. If you have pure white, we'll go ahead and select all the pure red, and you'll see the red faces on the side, opposite sides. And pure blue, see the blue faces on the opposite sides, highlighted in orangish or whatever. So that just basically, it's the basic cube function. So I'm going to try to invert the top and bottom faces so that when we enter inside the cube, we can see them. So with the backface culling, you can see this option over here. Let me expand this a little bit. This backface culling option over where my mouse is. I'm not sure if you can actually see my mouse. But right underneath where it says multi-texture, textured solid, Mad Cat, backface culling, Blender is essentially writing that only the outside faces here are going to be rendered with their texture or just visible when we're viewing at it from a certain angle. And if we're viewing it from the opposite angle, like from in here, we should be able to see it, which you can actually see the backface culling inside of Blender, where you kind of see through, you don't see any solidness to it. And when you zoom back out, you see the kind of the solid face. So at the very least, you can't see the textures, but you can see the backface culling. So what I need to do to reverse these guys is to flip their orientation. And if I can remember where that is... One of these guys. There we go, flip direction. So, I don't know if I can actually view the normals right now. Maybe I can. It doesn't really matter. I'll just show you manually. So, all these faces have normals, and the normal is just a vector showing which direction it is outward or forward. So, if I'm facing you, my normal is pointed in your direction. If these guys are facing me right now, the normal for this face is pointed toward me, toward the screen. And if I go over here and look at it this way, the normal is facing away from the screen, so we're not seeing it. That's what the backface culling is doing. So we can flip direction for these normals, and all of a sudden, it's inside out. You can't see it. And you can actually... oh, wait, did this guy not get flipped? Oh, there we go. But now you can see the effect of backface culling. It's a little bit disorienting. Because we're looking top-down, the top face has been flipped, the normal has been flipped, so we can see through it because we're looking at its back face. So it's being culled, we're not seeing the texture. And because of this perspective, we also see the back faces of all the sides. But because I flipped the bottom too, we're seeing the front face of the side, which was reversed from where it was before. So now the front face is on the inside of the cube, so we can actually see the texture there. So if I export this file as, what do we gotta call it? We want to export as a wavefront object. Just call it testbox underscore backface. We'll just export that. And now we can go over to the model converter. Where's the model converter? There we are. Okay. We have the model converter in the in folder underneath a mirror ball, which is just something else I was working on. We have our... Let's sort by type here. There we go. We got our test box underscore backface, and that's the test box with the top and bottom backface reversed. So the backface culling is actually going to be visible when we go inside the cube. So let's go ahead and go through the execute batch script here. and we're going to say, okay, it's first going to ask for number of keyframes. This thing's actually built for animations, which is freaking ridiculous because XL2 apparently can make anything. Again, thanks on XL2 for actually making this freaking possible. I have no idea how he did it, but I could probably manually spend a few months going through all of his old code in the include files, because all of this is open source. Anyway, so we're doing 0 keyframes. Okay, it's going to skip step 2 because we're not doing any animations. Step 3, we want to do a scale value. Now, the scale value basically will determine how big it's going to appear on screen, and in some cases, basically, it's going to say whether or not you can even see it at first. Because if it's too big, all the faces are going to be very far away from you, and if everything's backface culled, you're going to be inside of it trying to look out, but the inside faces should all be invisible if backface culling is properly implemented. So here we have this line over here, Joe 3D set scale set to 14, and basically that means we're going to want to do like a scale of about 14 or somewhere thereabouts. So back to our batch script, we're going to say scale of 14. The folder is going to be in/amaraball/ title is going to be testbox_backface. And now it's going through and looking for all my textures here. This pixel depth is actually wrong, as Ponut64 has just now told me. He just got back to me with an update. The model converter actually looks for full 32-bit bit depth. So essentially, if you just go on paint.net, I'll just show you. So we do here paint.net. We're gonna open up this file over here. Let's do pure blue. Just gonna make sure I open it up with not xnview but paint.net. That way I can actually edit it. Okay. And this tiny thing way down here is my texture. It's 8x1 because that's the smallest texture the Sega Saturn can support. We're going to go ahead and save as the same thing. Replace it, and we want 32-bit depth. And there we go. And that's how you do a basic texture. And you can make this a lot bigger. You can make this like 500 by something or another. You have to go look up the specs to see what the Saturn can actually handle. But yeah, you can make a decent size texture. The textures I've seen that are 64 by 64 are plenty detailed. The box that you're seeing me use on the last few streams were 64 by 64. Right now I'm just doing solid colors because it's easy to debug against solid colors. That's why we have the smallest possible texture size here on a solid color. So that's, you create the textures like that. You're going to create as many as you need. You see the pure blue, pure cyan, pure green is the same as the Blender material names. Pure white, pure blue, pure red. I just have one for every basic color I'm going to want to render. And I'll just make more for the other colors I want to render, and then make some, like if I want to make an eye or a mouth or something, I'll just have to draw it and deform it so that it appears right on the cube. Or the quad, sorry. So we've made our model, we've made our textures, we've exported them, and the textures are being applied to the testbox_backface. That's the name of our ZTP file that we're going to be looking for. So let's go out, and the output under bin is going to be testbox_backface. Let's copy that, and we're going to put it into the CD file where all of our interesting assets are. So see, we have a whole bunch of different models. The ZTIs are images being used for essentially background images. And I'm going to have to... there's a different tool hiding somewhere inside of these files that can handle images, and maybe later tonight I'll find it and use it to create like a background star field or something to get rid of that garbage in the background. Or at least blank the screen and make it all black. Like I'll just make a black texture and just expand it to the whole background. But now we have testbox_backface.zdp, so we can go in our code over here and switch the box. Backface. Save. Compile. Okay, clean is done. Compile is done. Let's go over to Mednafen and run. Okay, so maybe I made this guy too big or too small or something. It's probably not working right now. That's unfortunate. I went through all that and it just decided to not work. I don't know if I made the size wrong or the textures, like you said, the bit depth was wrong. But that other cube was made with those bit depths, and it should have worked just fine. So let's try that sequence again, except everything with the same bit depth. So let's go back in here to our in file, airball. I actually don't need these guys anymore. Get rid of that. So let's do pure blue. Should already be 32-bit. We already fixed that. So pure red. Save as red. Alright. 32-bit. There we go. And pure white. Save as pure white. Yes, and 32-bit. Okay, there we go. And let's go back in here and just double check to make sure. Oh, okay, that's really interesting. That's how it should behave. So from the outside, we're gonna be looking like this, and from the inside, it should look like this, where you can see these guys. That's what we're expecting. So let's export again. Wavefront as text box backface. Alright, so that should work. So let's go back to our model converter and try this one more time. And maybe the size was wrong. I don't know. I don't think it was. I'm gonna try 14 again just in case. And slash Amer. Let's make sure all the capitals are correct so we don't have any excuses for it not working. And then test box underscore backface. Oh, it's got all the colors it needs. Created the binary file. Let's try that again. That's just Sigwin being annoying. Let's try that again. Seriously. Okay, there we are. My goodness, that is annoying. Now it's not working again. Why is that? It's responding to inputs, but there's no polygons being rendered or put on screen. So I'm doing something wrong. And just a minute ago, I was doing something right, so I don't get it. If I close out of this thing... yeah, I don't want to close. Just go back to my basic little test box. Will it run? Okay, so we have the shape back. Maybe it's the size. Maybe I'm exporting the size wrong. Maybe I should try 32 or something to the effect. I don't know. And this backface culling is all facing outward, so I can't just demonstrate what I'm talking about here. So let's go back into Blender and see if we can't get this thing to do what we want. Actually, we don't need to go back into Blender. What we need to do... let's stay in that folder for now. Let's just run the converter again, except this time we'll do a size of like 32 or something and see if making it bigger will help or smaller. I don't know. Yeah, let's try 32, and if bigger doesn't work, we'll go smaller. Because I'm certain it's something stupid like that. It's just me setting the wrong size. So it's going to be test box dot underscore backface. Huh. Oh, it's because I misspelled it. Yeah. Whoops. Okay. Let's try that again. Let's try 32, and if 32 doesn't work, we'll go down to like 16 and then 8, and we'll just go progressively smaller until something shows up on screen, because I'm certain that's the problem. Title, not title. Ball. Test box underscore backface, and this time everything's spelled right, and it saw everything. It sees my textures. Creating binary for it, so binary file should be there. There we go. Copy and replace. Wait a minute. Oh, whoops. That was the wrong folder. This one. Great file. Let's try that again. Backface. Oh, that's not working. I don't know what it is about the sizes. I'm certain that it's the size that's the problem. So what I can do is I can go into my output over here, and we're going to look at the two things. The test box, which is currently working, and it sees all the positions are fixed to minus 14, 14. So 14 was the scale factor used here. Test box backface 32. So 14 was the right size. So this header file is not what you actually use to display 3D, it's just a check. So I don't know what I changed about this model in order for things to get screwed up like that. I don't know if the face inversion was the problem. But the scale of 14 seems to be correct, which is what I expected because we set the scale here to be 14. So let's go back in and we'll double check something. What we're going to do is we're going to go and literally change nothing except the name of the export file. So backface culling is still on, but the normals are set in the way that you expect them. The colors are where they were before. Red is there, blue is on the adjacent face, and white's on the top and bottom. All right. So let's export. Wavefront, test box backface. There we go. Oh, whoops. It's kind of you. Okay, so now that we got that, let's go back to our model converter. 0 keyframes. Scale 14, as we established. In a Maribel, which is just my little test folder that I'm making. Title, that's going to be test box underscore backface. All right, everything should have been read fine. So I go over here and I just load it up. I should expect to see something correct. Hey, Shane. And if this doesn't work, then it must be, I don't know if it's something to do with the textures, if something changed there. Or it might just be the fact that there's an underscore in the file name and that might be throwing something off. Or the file name might be too long. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the file name to TBBF, so test box backface. It probably is just something as simple as that. So let's go back into Blender, and this time we're gonna export as a much smaller file name. So I'm actually not sure. I'm certain this is in the code somewhere. I'm going to look at it and go, oh, that's why. It's probably because there's a character limit on the file names, and I'm probably exceeding it. I'm almost certain that's it. So text box, backface, TBBF, and then we're going to go through the model converter again and get it to run. I'm planning on doing like an actual proper tutorial for this afterwards that's actually clean and nice. Oh, let me go back over to Notepad++. So, hopefully, after this stream, I'll find some time during the weekend. Maybe on Monday, I will try to record something that's kind of like an approximate, you know, soup to nuts, how to do this. And that way, anyone that wants to work in Sega Saturn, wants to work in Joe Engine, can just refer to this as, here's how you do 3D models. You know, everything should be quads, etc., etc. So this is test box backface. It sees it, it made it, it's generating it. Enjoy, good to go. TBBF. Alright, and the code already reflects TBBF, so let's just try to load it up that way. Back over to Mednafen. I don't know if it's too early on a Friday night to be doing a stream. It's, oh, there we go. The cube's back. There's only 3 people on right now, and I know that sometime around 10 or 11, some just 15 people are going to walk in and go, hey, what's this? Why? Everything's done already? This is boring. And then they're going to leave. I need to figure out a better time slot for this. I'm hoping to do this regularly on Friday nights now, as opposed to Saturdays and Sundays. I know I've been all over the place with it during the schedule. There's only stream 4. But I'll figure it out. I'll get something regular going, and then I can kind of like look forward to this. I actually can do the N64 logo, but I feel like that would be sacrilegious. Maybe I can attempt doing a Saturn logo. I don't know. I mean, that would be kind of technically complicated. It would look like crap if I tried to do it, because I can't do curves in Blender at all. I don't know what I'm doing. But, okay, we got the cube back on stream, and I think we've confirmed that my problem was I was expecting too much for the character limit on the file size. That, or it can't handle underscores, one of the two. Either way, I'm going to avoid both from now on. I'm just going to name everything super short and just keep a list of what they actually are separately when I'm actually doing real stuff for the game. So let's go back in Blender and do what I originally wanted to demonstrate. So we go into edit mode. Oops, sorry, let me show you what I'm actually doing. We're in Blender. I'm going to select this face and this face, the top and bottom. I am going to flip the directions so that we can get a proper demonstration of backface culling inside the engine and be able to see the white faces, which we can't because the perspective only lets us see the red and blue. Maybe we can add some colors in a little bit. And once I've properly demonstrated that I can do this without mistakes, we'll start making some fun stuff. I'll try to import anything that I can. Just remember that Saturn is a quad-based system and not a triangle-based system. So I've actually had the problem that Ponut explained to me that if I try to do too many vertices on top of each other, especially triangles, it's going to screw everything up. So we got to pay special consideration to our geometry here. So this is our actual backface demonstration where... Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a little trippy. Okay. So let's go over to our model converter. 0 keyframes. Scale 14. In/Ameriball. I should rename that folder. It's no longer relevant. I was making a different model earlier. Object file name. It is TBBF. It sees it. It made it. Good to go. Go in our out folder. Go in the bin. Copy TBBF over to our CD folder inside of our code. Replace, yes. And file and run. Go. And then we go back over to our Mednafen. There we go. So we got our red and our blue But you'll notice, actually, there's a little bit of tearing on the bottom of the blue face where you see some white outline, and that's because the back face culling is demonstrating currently the white faces up and down. That's exactly what I wanted to demonstrate, because I flipped the normals on the top and bottom faces. You can see the bottom one kind of disappearing out of rendering space occasionally. Yeah, like right there. Because I flipped the normals, now these are considered the front faces, so when I'm facing them, I will actually display them. And the bottom face is kind of going out of our rendering area. And this is actually something I touched on during the last stream when I was getting frustrated with that clipping when I was doing collision. Let me actually go over it in the technical documentation that I linked last time. So this is Sega SGL, I believe, documentation. If I go into the manual, I'll be able to actually show you what I was talking about. I'm downloading these things they're already downloaded. That's kind of silly. There we go. So this diagram shows you exactly what I was talking about with what I was trying to explain, but wording it poorly. This is frustum culling. So we have a, there's got to be a better demonstration of this, because that's a terrible angle of that. There we go. This is better. So we have the viewpoint where the camera actually is. We have the projection face, so that's the closest face, where if anything is behind that, it won't get rendered. And then we have the rear boundary surface. And everything inside of this, it's like a pyramid that's had the top cut off. They call it a frustum. So anything inside of this area, the viewing volume as they call it, is going to get rendered. Anything that's outside it, like that's too far away, or it's off camera, or it's too close to you over here, you can't see where my mouse is. But if you look between where it says viewpoint here and where it says projection surface here, these two lines, anything in here, technically you kind of expect it. If you put your first person viewpoint where that viewpoint is, you expect to be able to see it. Like if you want to rub your face up against a wall to see it, you expect to be able to see everything in front of you. But the projection surface cuts off or culls it if it's too close, which was my problem last time, because I set the collision to be pretty much precise to what those cubes were sized to. But because the cube surfaces were being drawn within that area, they weren't being viewed, or they weren't being drawn by the engine. So we have a command. I believe I can find it right away here somewhere. No, not up here. Nope. Is it SLZ display? There we go. This command over here will kind of subdivide it. The higher the number, the greater the subdivision. So the default of, I think, 0 or 1 is kind of far away. Oh, new playlist. So any, I try to call anything with lyrics in it so I don't talk over myself or something else. So like a default of like 0 or 1, the projection surface is pretty far out. But if you put a higher number, you kind of subdivide it. So like you get 2 means half the distance. So it's halfway between these two, and 3 is a third of the distance, so it's closer to the viewpoint than projection. And you can go as high as 7, I believe. So you know, we can go ahead and set this all the way up. It's already 5 is pretty far out. I'm going to set this to 7 because I want to be able to see freaking everything. Okay, so let's go back and into the game and actually run it again. See if that made a difference before I move on to do some different stuff. All right. I have absolutely no idea what you mean by that, Shane. All right, we're loading and reloaded, and we can see the back faces. So basically, I'm pretty sure this is as close as we can get. So when the actual faces go off screen, that means we've literally passed them, when before we might have been a little bit behind them. Right? But no, so this is just a little backface culling demonstration. And if we go over to the center and we start rotating like this, I think we no longer get that clipping effect. Oh, never mind. Still have it. How far does it extend? Oh. Well, that's just something I'm gonna have to live with because I don't know how to fix that. And maybe one day I will, but probably not today. There we go. So I'm sufficiently entertained by that. I don't know what else we can do. I was planning on, spending a little time making some 3D models, making something interesting before going on to translating this code. This is not actually my code. This is Ponut's code that he edited for me from XL2's demo for how to use his file format. So XL2 made a lot of this code. They have this gonad shading. They have this gonad shading from something called the Rock and Bee demo. So this is just history on top of history. I don't know what half this stuff is. I'm gonna have to learn eventually. Gonad shading is a little bit above my pay grade for now. I'm gonna have to learn it later. That's just kind of like a dynamic lighting effect, like the kind of a baseline, one of the first ones you can do, because this is like the first 3D console that Sega put out. Kind of, sort of, not really, if you count the 32X. So this is probably a very basic version of shading that you might be used to today. So it's just basically you're able to light polygons. You notice the polygons I'm showing right now, all the quads are just uniformly lit, no shadows, no changing or anything like that. There, yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, gonad shading. I'm just gonna call it that from now on because I'm not sure of how I should be pronouncing Gorad, or whatever. Yeah. So this is mostly XL2's code. Ponut64 very graciously edited it so that I could quickly go and test static models with this line over here. And it's basically a giant mess, and I will be going over it later tonight once I get bored of making 3D models and importing them and looking at them. Right now I just want to make a few 3D assets, something interesting. Maybe I'll try making a sword. Because the game will have a sword and sorcery component to it. I want to be able to have, first-person weapons. We are making a Daggerfall Light for the Saturn. So let's go into Blender and let's just make a new model. And I've got some basic colors, and if I want to do some more texturing, like I can make a metallic gray color, or I can make, a hilt with actual, texturing on it. So, yeah, let's... I don't want to do the N64 logo, because that's never going to actually be in the game, but Shane, if you have any... Or anyone, really, if anyone has any suggestions... crap. Music is... I'm trying to clip all the music with lyrics out of this playlist, so I can just go in the background. There we go. It's all Sega-themed. One, because I'm on the Sega Saturn, and second, because... every other song that I ever try to do, put into the stream, will get copyright stricken by the time it hits YouTube. But yeah, if anyone has any other suggestions for 3D models before I go on to try and make a sword, I'm up for suggestions. Okay, let's go ahead and make a new model. I don't know that I want to start out with a cube. Yeah, I don't know. What do we have as our primitives? Let's just delete the cube for now and just see what we have. We got a plane. I don't want a plane. Cube. We already had a cube. We have a circle, which is exactly that. A circle's not even textured or anything. Okay, there we go. Something medieval. A house, a tavern, a chair, boulder. A boulder's just lazy. That's just a mess. You're just allowed to make a mess and just put it on screen. A chair might be interesting. Maybe I'll do a chair. See how well I do. So, yeah, let's do a chair. Chair works. We're gonna make a few cubes. Let's see. So if we want the chair to have a total height of 1, let's use this cube as a measuring stick. So I'll just put it off to the side, 3 units away in either direction, and vertically 0. And that's our scale unit, so we want our chair to basically be of that size. So we can just keep that in the background for now. Select it and just make another cube, and then we'll just make the seat of the chair. So 0, 0, 0. We're gonna want to make a basic chair texture, or see if there's any royalty-free textures I can just steal from the internet and downsample. Probably the latter. I'm not an artist. Royalty-free textures. Let's make a wood chair, and we'll use here, Creative Commons 0 license. That's right up my alley. That's because my game's Creative Commons licensed anyway. Yeah, there, royalty-free wood texture. So here we go. I'll just use this guy, and I'll just downsample it and just kind of do some basic manipulation. Probably take this one plank of wood, stretch it over the bottom of the chair, and we'll see how terrible it looks. All right. So we got our this is going to be our seat. So remember, we're trying to make it a unit of 1 tall so that we can keep everything more or less uniform. So that means everything put together should be 1 unit tall. Let's try 0.1 as the seat. So just a basic seat here. That looks good. Let's make some legs. And scale, X scale should be 0.1. 0.1. 0, okay. So how high do we want this to be? We want this to be minus 0.25 and maybe a height of 0.5, and that should get it not really where I want it to be. Okay, let's zero this out first. Maybe location minus 0.5 will do. That looks right. I mean, the leg is in the middle, that's wrong, but we can move that. Let's try 0.5 displacement in that direction. 0.6. 1? That's too much. 0.8. I'm okay. Okay, 0.8. I'm comfortable with 0.8. 0.8. Alright. And because we are... we want to save real estate on some of these services. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I'm in object mode right now. I'm going to go over edit mode, select this face, and just delete it. Delete the face. And that way we don't have to render anything there. Yeah, there we go. Yes, it's Blender IKEA. Okay. So let's drop that back down to, I believe that was minus 0.5. Right? That's about where I want it. Okay. And we can just copy that one over. So this is going to be, whoops. F2 does not do what I think it does. I'm used to F2 meaning rename, not, whatever that was. Okay, that's going to be leg 1. Let's do a few of these. Oh, let's give this thing a texture first. So this is going to be wood 1. There we go. Texture wood 1. Alright. Whoa. Oh, yeah, that's my scale unit. Okay, so this whole thing's textured wood 1. Let's go ahead and texture this thing wood 1. Here we go. Wood 1, wood 1. And this is going to be the seat. So let's rename it seat. I can spell. Let's take leg 1 and duplicate it a few times. Where's my duplicate button? There we go. Go and... Alright. Got 4 legs, we just gotta move them. I like how leg 1 turned into leg 1.001 as opposed to leg 2. Okay, crap. No, leg 4, not leg 14. And then we just gotta move them all into place. Oh, we're getting a few more people in stream. Hi, everyone. Feel free to chat. This is a birthday stream. It's my birthday. Doing 3D birthday blast because, you know, Sonic or whatever. I'm taking requests for 3D models to implement, and hopefully they'll show up in the game somewhere. You know, looking at the size of these legs, I feel like the seat is way too big or these legs are way too small, and I'm going to err on the side of the seat being way too big. So let's scale this down by a lot more. This is a decent distance. Where's this guy at? 0.3. So if I move him to 0.4, 0.4, what's that going to look like? I'm okay with that. Vertical needs to be fixed. 0.5. All right. And these guys should all have the same texture properties, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. So leg 1. What do we decide on? It was 0.4, 0.4. So let's fix everyone so they're the same convention here. 0.4, 0.4. So leg 2 is going to be 0.4 minus 0.4. Put it on the other side. There it is. Leg 3 is going to be minus 0.4 and 0.4 and minus 1/2. Is that AI builds or AL builds? Either way, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch enough videos, I guess. I don't know. Is this... This is... Okay, this is Genesis music. Okay. Oh, AI builds. Oh, okay, yeah, because all the incremental changes. I'm not really into the... This is a little bit grating for me, especially Phantasy Star 3. Phantasy Star 3 had terrible sound quality compared to 4. Okay. They have an AI do... oh, okay. Yeah, Ristar is not a bad choice. I should probably add that to the list. Add some Ristar MIDI files. Or I don't know if it's going to be MIDI or just waves. Something like that. Minus 0.4. Minus 0.4. We got our chair legs. We got our chair, seat, whatever. We need a back. Okay, so here's the thing. Which direction is back, actually? Let me open up the other file here. A mirror. No, not that one. So when I was doing the test box... There we are. Okay. When I was doing the test box, red was the first thing I saw. So that means if we go... Oh my god, okay. So that means we have to go making the X direction... Okay, this is the default direction I'm looking at. So X direction is red, it's going to go to my right, and Z blue should be going up. That makes sense? Yes, I want to quit. Go away. So that means this is the default behavior of... Wait, why is... Yes, this is the default behavior, so the seat should be back here somewhere. Which would be, I guess, in the positive Y direction, which... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And no, I don't need a... Well, okay, we can make a stool, and then I can just put another thing on it and make it a chair, which is kind of like a two for one thing. Oh, crap. I didn't want to do that. There we go. Everything, anytime you touch a key in Blender, it changes something. It's so annoying. Because everything's so keyboard-based, and, you know, the mouse will control just pretty much anything, because they expect you to have perfect mouse control or something. Come on, Shane, seriously? I'm not sure if the Saturn... Coffee, if the Saturn will be able to handle coffee mug renders, because that's a level of detail where you're starting to put a lot of objects on screen. To my knowledge, if everything were properly optimized, I could handle a maximum of 2,500 quads on the screen rendered, or in the working memory, just workspace, not even rendered. I think it's just, and I'm trying to keep this thing at 60 FPS at the expense of everything else, because I want smooth motion. It's going to be first person. So, coffee mug might be out of the question. The chair, less so. So, let's go ahead and Let me delete that real quick. And I'm going to save this as... There we go. I'm tired of the Mirrorball folder. Let's do a different folder. Let's do furniture. This will be stool. And we can export. Okay, where we are? Where are we? Where are we? Come on. There we are. We'll export the wavefront as stool.lbj inside of furniture. Yeah. And now we can just make... we'll clone this guy, or duplicate, sorry. Change some things around so that the Y direction is a lot skinnier. And Z direction is a lot taller. And we're also going to want to get rid of that bottom face because we're never going to use it. Alright. So let's center this guy, 0, 0.5. Oh, thanks, Shane. Sorry, coffee. Yeah. Coffee cups, despite the namesake, are probably asking a bit much of the Saturn. But if you can think of something bigger, like you know, a torch or a door, or a sword, or giant pile of poo, I don't know. Okay, X direction, maybe 0.55 would be, there we go. That's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and then we'll move this guy a little bit, 0.45. 0.45. There we go. This feels closer to a stool, or a chair. Maybe we can make this guy a tiny bit bigger. Oh, how far can we put this? Okay, there. Let's do 0.7 for safety's sake. We can lower this thing down a little bit. Nope, nope. There. Now it feels too big. It's getting a little bit anal retentive on this guy. There we go. How's that for a chair? You think this is too short? I feel like this is like a normally proportioned chair. I mean, I guess maybe the back could be rotated a little bit. Okay, how about let's do a little bit of rotation, try and make it a little bit more. There we go. Well, maybe not that much. It's not like a PewDiePie chair where we can do this, rotate around. That's, oh crap! I didn't want to do that. How about this? It's like a decent chair. Okay, let's try minus 15 degrees. That'll. How's this for a chair? Does that look comfy? What I might be able to do is I might be able to trim these corners. I'm not sure how yet. That's probably asking a bit much. Like we're trying to keep the polygon counts just low. I'm hoping that backface culling was on this whole time. Ugh, it wasn't. Okay, everything backface culling. There we go. That way, if I'm going inside, there we go. Everything disappears just like it should. That's what I want to see, because I don't want to have to render all the insides of everything when I don't have to. Scoliosis? What are you talking about? This is a decent chair. I'm proud of this chair. Yeah, this is good for a chair. Let's save as chair. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this as wood chair. And that way, what I can do is I can just quickly swap the material. Yes, I cherish it. Oh my goodness, Shane. Okay. I'm going to export this as a wood chair. and then I can swap the material and make it like a metal chair, or I don't know, pizza chair or something like that. Wood chair.obj. Next step is we are trying to take this, there we go, free for personal commercial, let me just convince everyone that I'm doing this legally. Free for personal commercial use, no attribution required. And I'm about to decimate it anyway, so whatever. Let's download that, there we go. So let me just grab that file. Okay. We'll just grab more as we go. So furniture, and we'll just do this. This should be wood1.jpg, but we're gonna open it in paint.net. Where's the open? Okay, well I guess I'll have to change it manually. Okay. Now this thing is way too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip out the nicest bit of wood that has the fewest bits of whatever on it. Like maybe this bit over here. Here, just make a nice squarish texture. It's almost certainly not going to tessellate. Maybe I'll make a longer texture. Alright, and then can I copy? I'm not used to paint.net, so... Drop to selection? Oh, convenient. Now let's resize this. Absolute size. This is way too big of a texture. We're looking at something like... let's try a height of 64. This is... Oh, whoops. It's, does this thing have a height of 25? What was the resolution on this thing? Jeez. Okay, let's try a height of 128. No, that seems actually a bit much. Let's try 64. And this is now my chair. This is my wood texture. So, you know, easy as stealing art assets. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that kind of mod on the Saturn. I am planning on doing a video one day on a battery mod for the Saturn, but obviously we're not going to overclock this thing. I mean, that would have been nice to have as a second wood texture. And you're sure it's under Creative Commons, right? Because I don't want to use it unless like everything's free and clear. I don't want to steal assets for this one. Like I'm actually going to try and make my own MIDIs for the music at some point, just so I don't have to steal anything. But okay, so let's save this as TGA, Wood 1 TGA, 32-bit, no compression, and let's see how this comes out when we try to import it. So let's go to our model exporter, 0 keyframes, scale 14, in/furniture, because that's the folder we were in. And let's try first the stool. Did we export the stool yet? Was that a... or by type? There we go, we got stool and wood chair, so we're good. Okay, so let's just do the stool first. Total of 9 colors after compression. Wow. It's interesting. Now, here's the thing. We have multiple meshes because I didn't combine them all at the end. I don't know if that is an issue. So let us find out. And if not, I will avoid that issue by going back into Blender, merging them all together. Stool.zdp. So presumably the ZDP file should just handle everything. So yes. Okay. I already know that this thing is going to give me trouble. I'm going to stop doing this right now, and I'm going to go back into Blender. This is saved. Let's open... Okay, first off, while I'm here, let's try to merge all these... Let me look up how to do that. So we want to merge all objects. I'm sure there's like a simple way of doing that. Oh, it's probably join, isn't it? There we go. That was easy. Save that. Re-export that as wood chair. Oh, all the materials saved? Okay, there we go. The materials are, in fact, saved. Everything's wood 1. That's perfect. So, export, wavefront, woodchair.obj, and we're good. And let's do the same thing, because I don't want to deal with multiple meshes. I know that's just another headache that I'm going to screw up somehow. So everything, join. Is it not J? Is J not join? Is it something else? I'm in object mode. I should be able to, oh boy. Do I need to be in edit mode? No. I was just looking at it too. I feel like I'm going crazy. Why was I able to join the last one and not this one? Okay, so shift, right mouse. Ah, dang it. All the objects are selected right now. For some reason, even including the lamp. Maybe I need to unselect the lamp. And... This is annoying me now. Where is the button to join them all? Should be that should be here somewhere. I literally just did this for the chair a second ago. Why doesn't is it are they not touching or something? Do I need to raise this a little bit? I feel like these guys are already touching. Yeah, see, they're inside. So I should be able to join these meshes. Where's the option? Maybe Control J? Oh. Okay, well that was simple. That was just Control J, I guess. Dang it. I'll remember that for next time. Yeah. You can tell I don't use Blender too often. Alright. So let's save that and export. Wavefront. Stool. Alright. We're done here. Let's go back over and convert the stool. So in/furniture with an E. Stool. Got our... Okay, got our texture. Created the binary font. Okay, now it's done. Good. I'm going to wait a little bit before I start handling multiple meshes and whatnot. So we have our stool. Let's copy that over into the test code folder and run with it. Where do we... There we go. Stool. See how bad this looks. I probably compressed that texture way too much. It's probably... It might be okay. I don't know. I haven't actually figured out how to make... Oh, crap. I should switch over to Mendefend first. The stool is upside down. That's interesting. And this texture looks just all kinds of wrong. We have a separate problem where some of the polygons seem to be fighting with each other over who gets to stay. Top. This is... Okay, so there's a couple issues. I need to flip this entire model, I guess. Or flip however Blender exports it. Second, this texture is obviously the wrong texture, so I gotta fix that somehow. Are you talking about background music or the background garbage? Because that, I think that's a leftover from the loading code. Yeah, that's the background garbage. That's part of this test code. Normally, you'd have a background image displayed over it. Right now, I'm just dealing with 3D models. So, yeah, that's just garbage. The screen needs to be properly blanked or have a background image set up first. And really, what I want to do right now is just figure out why first the stool has the wrong color, and second, it's upside down. Let's go back over to Blender first. See, maybe there's some sort of problem with presets. Oh, well, let's turn on backface culling first of all. I don't know why that was off. And I know somewhere in here there is a an option to change the coordinate system. And if not, I'll just have to manually do everything upside down anyway. I don't know. I mean, that would be the easiest fix for this thing, is just turn everything 180 degrees. There we go. Here we are. Do everything at 0, 0, 0. And maybe move it forward about minus 0.2, minus 0.3, minus 0.5, minus 0.45, minus 0.4. Okay, yeah, this is probably 0.4. Okay, and then after that, I gotta figure out what's wrong with that texture. Why does it look so terrible? It's weird. Does it not like the colors or something? Like 9 colors, it should be able to handle just 9 separate colors. I've not figured out the floors yet. No. Let me export this again as stool. Actually, while I'm here, maybe I can manually call these guys. So if I go into edit mode and I select for faces, okay, that's just one face. Should I create can I create a vertex here? No, that's going to increase my polygon count. That's the problem there. So I need to... solution properly would probably be to change sort order for objects, I think. So this thing's upside down now. Let me just make sure that I export this as it is. Wavefront, stool. Ready to go over to our... I mean, I can make a texture that's a solid color. I kind of want to be able to do actual textures, though. Like, this should work. And I don't know why it doesn't. There's nothing special about these colors. The Saturn should be able to handle it. The sandals handled something a lot more impressive than just brown. Oh, wait, that's looking at the wrong place. Whatever the song is, it's garbage, and I want to change it. Let me see. Yeah, it loaded in gray and black, and I don't know why. It's bizarre. It really should have loaded correctly. Okay, so we can do that. Yeah, you're right. We could probably do a better check for that. So let's we could make a magenta chair. Just have it just. Okay, magenta's probably a bit much. Let's okay, so stool is selected. Let's change the name of the texture to what do I have available? Okay. Furniture, we have wood1.tga, which I already had open. Let's copy over one of my solid colors from the Maribel. Let's see, we got blue, cyan, green, magenta, red, white. Let's... All of these are eye-gougingly painful to look at, so let's just go with magenta. Or, no, cyan's fine. So pure underscore cyan is the name of the new texture. Pure underscore cyan. Export as an OBJ. All right. And let's go up to the execute.bat and redo this. So scale 14 in slash furniture stool. Huh. Why didn't it change? It's still looking at a 9-color wood 1. Something didn't change. We need to... Oh, we probably should assign this to every face. There we go. So, let's see if that did it this time. Yeah. Okay. So this should be a solid cyan stool in the correct orientation, which is upside down in Blender for some freaking reason. Furniture. Stool. Okay, only one color. Pure cyan. There we go. We found it. There we go. Let's go to our output. Grab... Oh, crap, I didn't want that. Grab the new stool.ztp file. Overwrite the old one. Why are we looking at this? We want to look at this. And we get to compile and run. Back to Magnafin. So, presumably the cyan will show up as, you know, blindingly light blue, otherwise known as cyan, but there we go. And without any shading, everything's just a solid color, so it might as well be like a Mr. Game & Watch type deal. Not gonna try doing any black textures on this background. So, pure colors apparently work. And backface culling seems to be working perfectly well, because as soon as I go through this stool, the legs start disappearing. Maybe the stool was rendered a bit big for this scale. I'm going to change the scale over to like 32 or 64 or some, power of 2 like that. Make this thing look small. So, it's the texture. Something's wrong with the texture. And because I made it the same way as the other one, I don't know what's the problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually make my own wood texture as opposed to stealing it from the royalty-free source and see if that works any better. So I'm just going to do a two-tone texture. Maybe the texture size is wrong somehow, I don't know. Where is my scale factor? There we go. Scale factor. Let's create another there we go. Let's create a static 3D scale equals 32, and then we'll just write this 3D scale anytime it asks for scale factor. All right. So let us go back, not over to Blender, but over to where we have the texture file, and we're just gonna make a new wood texture that's just 2 tones, made entirely in Paint.net. That sounds like a terrible... Why would you... No. It's like you're asking for your gut to be just completely demolished. Let's call this one Wood 2. We got Wood 1. Alright. So clearly this is a bit much for our system to run on. So let's play around with some colors and just generate something interesting. I don't know how we can restrict this to like a 24-bit color scheme. So I mean, really, I shouldn't be restricted on what colors I can make, but rather the amount of colors I can create. Let's make everything this color. Probably a better way of doing this, but I don't know. Swap colors, create an eraser. That is the opposite of what I want. I'm so used to MS Paint that I just don't know what I'm doing anymore. Yeah, that's a good idea. Solid brown with like dark brown polka dots or something like that. Is there a way to make this pen bigger? I'm sure there's multiply. Oh. Well. Yeah, I gotta learn this tool. I'm using tools without learning them. That's probably a bad idea, but you know, whatever. You know what? That could probably help if I resize this to a very, very small size. So let's try a texture of, well, it's already plenty small. Maybe it's the number of pixels that threw it off. Let's do 32 by 32 texture. Okay. This is a color I just constructed on the palette. Should be able to handle it. So there we go. That's a solid light brown. Let's make a darker brown. Let me drag up my palette over here so we can see what's going on. I don't know if I can do something interesting here, like mahogany. Oh, that's a bit too red. There we go. I automatically hate this color now. Let me try something a little bit less ridiculous. Less red. Whoa, I undo. Why did that do it like that? Weird. That pink bucket is just supposed to go along solid color lines, but maybe that's just the MS Paint talking. Alright, this is officially my new Wood 1. 32-bit depth. If 32 doesn't work, I'll go back and save it as a 64. This is good enough. I would accept this for an 8-bit games texture for wood. Alright, so back into Blender. Let's change Pure Cyan back to Wood 1. So if we go back into edit mode, sign, select, everything is okay. So there we go. Save, export. So wood, this is a stool. Okay, so we exported the stool. Now let's go back into our model conversion tool. Go in the batch file, 0 keyframes, in/furniture. Hey, what now? Oh, did I press enter one too many times? What happened? Okay, so we wanted a scale of... I put a scale of 32, but I want the stool to be a little bit smaller than that, so let's just try 16 and see if it shows up. Furniture. And then stool. Total of 5 colors. That sounds wrong. I used 1 color. Well, 2 colors. That should have just been 2 colors. Well, let's see how it comes out. Maybe there's multiple layers on that or something that I'm missing. Maybe that threw it off. Should only have been 1 layer. So let's overwrite and go back and run the actual code. RTG, what? 3D scan. It occurs to me that I probably should not be, starting the names of variables with numbers. And I don't know why that just occurred to me. Just scale 3D. 3D. Alright, and then up here, where did I have to define it? There is a static, scale 3D. Try that again. There we go. As soon as SigWin starts cooperating. Okay, so if it wasn't for the fact that I have terrible painting skills, this would actually look pretty good. So I don't know what the deal was with converting that image, so maybe I'm just better off using images as reference and just making my own textures that way. You'll still notice the Z-sorting problem here that I think I might be able to solve if I go into the documentation and just read for a little bit. So we're probably going to have to dive into that, fix that, because I think I already know what's wrong. There's... maybe I can actually go into the manual and show you. Yeah, it's like a really terrible cheetah print. It's not inaccurate, no. You see, this whole stool already is taking up 26 polygons, looks like. That's just working memory, I think. And I think 40 vertices. That sounds about right. So, if we think of that in terms of our total working memory, that one stool... If we think of it in terms of our upper limit, I think it was like 24 or 2500. Let's just call it 2000 to be conservative. 2,000 quads, and we're taking up like 26 of them. So we are potentially taking up 1% of our working memory to display that chair. So essentially, I would have to restrict the use of such furniture to like small individual scenes where I'm rendering a thing in a room, maybe like a miniature cutscene or something, and you know, nothing exciting is happening in the background. The Saturn can't handle a whole bunch of polygons, so that I'm probably asking a bit much, making a whole bunch of renderings like this with all these features on it. Like, there's not really a lot of features on it. It's literally just 5 rectangles duct taped together, but still, 1% of our working memory. Anyway, so like I said, let's go into the documentation real quick and see if we can't figure out that Z sorting issue. I guess we're done trying to use wood, anything. I'll just have to use images as a reference and make my own. No. Where is the documentation? No, not this guy. I remember it. Here we go. So let's see if we can find sort. Let me go back to the beginning and find sort. Polygon face attributes, sort, 7.5. Z-sort specification, 7.5. Let's go to section 7.5. Right too far. Early, where is, okay, you know what? 7-5. There we go. So if we look at this, we got 2 figures here. I'll just go through one at a time. And what we do is to decide which thing to draw first, we have to make these sorting points. So for the polygon, we can sort center, which is a calculation to see where the middle of that polygon is, sort minimum, and sort maximum. So what I suspect is happening is that everything is being sort centered or maybe sort max, I don't know. So the things with a weighted center closer to us will be displayed on top or rendered last, which is why those chair legs seem to be popping out of the chair seat. If we were sorting by minimum, that basically mean the point closest to us from the polygon would be the one that's rendered first. So that's I think that's what you want to do, is mostly for objects that you're rendering inside of your scene. You want sort min on basically everything to make everything make sense. Because otherwise you get that thing where like the object starts clipping out when the center of that leg, or the center of whatever that is closer to you than the center of the bigger object. So you see a similar thing going on here, where it asks, okay, which one of these things is going to be rendered first? So if sort minimum is rendered first, that means this guy is closer than, or the brighter quad is closer than the darker quad. So the darker quad gets rendered first, and then the lighter quad gets rendered second. But if we have sort max on, I think it's vice versa. I might be interpreting this wrong. I'd have to actually go through and read this properly. But it shows you what's going on. The documentation is great if you actually read it. The problem is I don't read it enough. So, with that in mind, let's go right back into the documentation here. And just go quickly into SGL and look for the Z-sort thing. Maybe we can just quickly change it with a function. Enumerations, functions, there we go. There's got to be something I can do for, not sort. Okay, so sort min, sort max, sort center. So one of these functions has to take in base as an argument. Base, I'm scrolling too fast. We're enumerating base where we're going, we're seeing which kind of sorting we're using according to that documentation I just showed. So I want to choose sort min, so I want to force things to sort min when it's rendering, and I need to find something that takes in base as an argument during a a function that takes in base as an argument to try and get everything to work that way. That, or I have to manually change every polygon to sort min, which sounds like a terrible way of doing it. This is just a series of structs. I'm looking for functions. There we go. Is it SL priority? Thing is, none of these actual things are documented, so I don't know. Well, let's go back in here. Maybe this is telling us what to actually use. Attribute, single plane, sort center, number, texture. Ah, this is the wrong place. Okay. Second parameter. Second parameter of what? Oh, there we go. Sort. So the attribute's getting written somewhere. Maybe I can quickly find it in this example code. Sort. Nope. Or in definitions. Sort. There's got to be something I can do to change the sort order. So how are these things being drawn is the thing. When I need to find the drawing function d blank gamepad my draw. There we go. Translate, rotate, set scale, display model. Where's display model? There we go. SL put polygon. Maybe that's got something I can use in documentation. Nope, just takes in P data. Okay, let's just look for every sort that we can manipulate here. So where does base come up? It's an enumeration, but I know something has to use it. Maybe it's here? I don't know. Okay, so, I don't know if I can literally just, while I'm... whatever the loading function is here. So, okay, actually I know where the loading function is. It's load model. So load model, ZT load model. That's going to be in the ZT, that's going to be in the ZT actual, ZT is the Z-Treme codebase that was developed by XL2. So that's his code. I'm going to have to go into his code and see if there's an option there to change the sort order. So, go over into the ZT folder. See if somewhere in C there is a sort thing. Sort 03. I'm assuming that he's taking the third... Okay, well, technically the fourth, I guess. So, what does that translate to over here? Looks like he's doing sort center, which is what I guess was happening. And I want sort min. So, here's the question. Do I dare change this line to X01? Or, because that doesn't look like a value. That looks like a memory address, actually. So maybe I don't know what I'm looking at. I could very well just be like screwing up memory locations that I don't need to be screwing up. I don't know if there's like just a quick way of just switching the sort order universally. That looks suspiciously like a memory just to me, and not. So it could be a hex value of 3, which I suspect to mean the 4th object in a list, or could be something else. I don't know. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to temporarily switch the... Oh, dang it. Temporarily switch this to 1, 1, and 1. Are those the only sorts around? Those are the only 3 sorts. Let's see what happens. Maybe it fixes it, maybe it breaks everything. I don't know. Yeah, of course, Sigwin's gonna give me problems. What did I break? What did I break? Oh, okay, we still have it. And the sort order is worse. The legs are being rendered behind the seat. Huh. There's just no real winning in this situation, is there? I think what I might have to do is I might have to specifically tailor these guys to be right underneath. Like, I might have to just resize it so there's no overlap of the polygons inside of this thing. But I successfully found out how to change the sort order, so that's interesting. What happens when I change it to different values? So we're trying, I put, what was that? XO1, which would be, I guess, sort min. I have no idea what sort BFR is, but I'm about to find out. We have a similar problem. The legs are being rendered behind the bottom of the chair. It's not really what I wanted. I think we're better off with the sort center. I think it's the only thing that actually worked as expected. Maybe a sort max. Maybe I'll change everything to X4 and see how bad that turns out. Probably terribly. Probably have like the back legs in front. Let's see what happens. Use this as a little learning experiment, I guess. Export, and then afterwards we'll change everything back to X3 because I'm afraid of changing XL2's code because I feel like he knows what he's doing a little bit better than I do. And nothing. Okay, so obviously that wasn't a valid option, and which is probably has something to do with the fact that you can't even find it in the documentation. So let's change that back to XL3, and then maybe I can fix the model so that we don't have this weird issue where the table or the legs of the stool are not popping up like that. Save that, and let's go back into Blender. These legs. What can we do about these legs? Can we unjoin? Can we reverse a join? Okay, so I guess P. Let's go into edit mode, I guess. P for... I don't think that did anything for me. What I could do is try to... Edit by vertex or something like that. I don't know. I don't have to redo this whole thing, though. I feel like it should be a quick way of just undoing all this, all the joining. What is this music? What is that? Oh, this is a crappy remix of Open Your Heart. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Rid of those. Okay, so let's select vertices. There we go. That'll probably do. Whoa, okay. That was not what I wanted. Select this, 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 and this. I do want to select this and this. Let's see if I can't. Oh, you know what? This would be so much easier if I did this by faces. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. Just get these guys. Ugh. Deselect. Deselect. Come on. Oh, okay, there we go. I also want the back faces. Come on. Why can't I also... Dang it. Okay. So we should be able to disjoin by pressing what? P for separate. That makes sense. So here's the stool bits, and we can try and raise these guys out a bit. Try to get these guys to barely touch. So 0.1 maybe. It looks just about right. And if I go in, it looks like the legs are barely on the boundary, and then we can rejoin everything anyway. Well, not the lamp. I don't want to join the lamp, so that should be what? Control J, right? There we go. Now we got the stool back. Oops. Keep pressing the wrong button. Okay. Still can't figure out why everything's upside down. I don't know if there is some sort of... Oh, you know what? I should probably look in the export settings. Maybe there's something there. Here, let's unrotate this thing. And reset the position. Well, move it to the correct position at least. Minus 0.4 and minus 0.4. Yeah, looks about right. Okay. Let's save this. I'll do one last export. I'm not a fan of this remix. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay. Playing with the playlist now. Okay, let's go export our stool. Now we go into our conversion tool. 0 keyframes. Okay, we'll do integer value. We have the scale set to 32. Let's try scale 16 to make it a small stool. In/furniture. Let's do stool. Okay, 5 colors. I still don't get the 5 colors. That's not right, but whatever. Okay, we have stool ZTP. Oh, this is the wrong folder, that's why. It's a ZT folder, I'm not messing with that code anymore. So let's try... Okay, still here? We're still here. Okay, there we go. Unlike the Twitch viewership, this line is still here. Alright, building right. Let's run it in Mednafen. It's still up. Oh, I completely forgot to check the export settings. But at least the legs are behaving in a way that I expected them to. So there's no sorting issues there. I just have to... Well, except that leg in the back. What's up with that? It's supposed to look like that? Oh. See, there's that sorting issue right there. Happens to the other guy too. It just... Textures kind of hide it, except for this one. What's up with that? I don't like that. I don't know if different sort order is actually in order. Let me try doing that sort min thing again. Let's do 2 fixes. First, let's go back and do the sort min, which I believe... Well, let's double check the documentation. Sort min would be X01, I guess. Alright, we'll do that. And then we'll go back into Blender and we go to the export. Okay, so forward... Wow, this looks really wrong. Forward is minus Z forward. And up is Y up. Okay, let's do this in a way that conforms to what I originally thought and see how badly that messes that up. I thought that Y forward was forward and up was just Z up. Oh, let's try exporting this. All right, and go back and we re-export that that model. 32 in/furniture stool. All right. Still weirding me out with the number of colors, but whatever. And rerun the code. Wow, okay, so, now we're looking at the stool upside down, which I guess is not too surprising considering I changed the export settings. Also, I changed the Z sort and I'm not liking what I'm seeing, so we might just go back to the default and just try to avoid looking at things from a certain angle, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I just need to change the way I'm building these things. It might be that the textures or the quads are so big that the individual calculations are suffering. Because there's no real way to universally decide how to sort these guys. Okay, so let's go back to our export or import settings and flip things around. Maybe the camera itself is flipped around. That's a distinct possibility. Let's see. So we have what's our camera look like? We go to, I believe my draw would be where the camera gets. So we have a fixed thing, and Z distance in this model is forward. So keeping that in mind, let's redo the export. So forward would be, I guess, Z forward. And then up would be positive Y up. Yeah, that sounds right. See how that works out. And let's go back and undo that modification to the sort order that I did. Go back to 3, just as usual. XL2 probably knows best. Ah, dang it. Oh, I've got to export the model first. Oh, do the same thing we always do. Dang it. Let's see. 16 / furniture stool. Back into Metnafin. It's still upside down. You got the default Z-sort thing going on. Why is it upside down? Okay. This is legitimately bothering me now. Let's go back over to Blender. From the beginning. Go back to our export settings. Up should be -Y up? Does that make sense? I don't know what's going on here anymore. Re-export and see if we can't get this thing to display the right way the first time without having to rotate it after the fact. Stool. Copy over our ZDP. Rerun the code. Freaking Sigwin, seriously? Come on. There we go. That's a success. Okay. So the stool's a bit big for my taste, I think, because it should be. I exported it at half the scale that I set the scale value to, but here it is, displaying right side up. So I think I know what to do in order for in order to get a proper tutorial going. So maybe later this weekend or something, if I find the time, or later on in the week, I'll do soup to nuts, making a texture, making a Blender file or whatever. I'll make the sword as part of the tutorial, and I'll make the texture, make the sword, label the textures properly, export it, put it in the engine, and have everything face the right side up. Here it is. Here's our crappily two-tone textured wood stool with back face culling, so we're only drawing half as many polygons as we need to. There we go. And I need to translate this this code into my own main code starters. But right now, I'm just happy to finally get this working after a week of struggling with this and not being able to get anything 3D in. But here we go. We just made a stool live on air. So let's go back and actually fix the chair and then render that as well. So this is done. We're gonna save that and finish it up, and then let's open the chair. So the first thing we got to do is separate some stuff. So let's go back into edit mode and select everything we want to separate here. Whoa! Let's not do that. As much as I like Crush 40, I don't need lyrics in the background because it's distracting. Try to get some instrumentals going. So P should be for separate, right? Is either P or Control P. Control P, nope, that's not Control P. P, separate selection. There we go. And then let's also do the same for this guy up top. The back of the chair. P, separate selection. Okay, so now the seat has a back. And what we can do is I think there's a quicker way of doing this. So I'm going to take, in object mode, I believe, take these guys and add a Boolean modifier where I am going to subtractively combine meshes. There we go. So the opposite of an intersect, I believe, is what I would... Actually, I gotta figure out which one of these is which. So the seat is the actual seat, and these are the legs. And then I believe seat 002 would be the back. So let's take the seat and subtractively modify with the legs. And apply the Boolean modifier. There we go. So if I take the legs and I make them disappear... Oh. Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure I like that. Let's undo that. I think I need to do that the other way around. Let's take the legs, subtractively modify them from the seat, so we can clip them. There, and now if we make the seat invisible, the legs are indeed shorter. At least they look to be so. They got a few extra vertices on them that I could do without. So let's go into edit mode and get rid of these vertices. Not all of these, no. Okay. So I believe we can safely get rid of these guys because they are the exact height we don't want. Oh, crap. How does that happen? Okay, let's get rid of this. Delete edges. Oh, that was a terrible... Okay, I see what happened there. We need to keep this. Oh. It's just unfortunate. Why is it triangulated? Really shouldn't be triangulated. Ugh. Dang it, stop. I just gotta manually deselect all the edge cases there. Ugh. There we go. It's a bit easier. No, not that guy. Come on. Almost there. Just gotta get rid of every bordering case so that I'm not getting rid of the actual legs of the tables that I want to keep. Just the other crap. Yep, screwed that up somewhere. Where did I screw it up? That doesn't need to get deleted. Neither does that guy. Neither does this guy. Right here, you got anything extra on it? There we go. There's one. And here? Ugh, stop that. Stop. Okay. Let's try deleting the edges. Ugh! I think this would almost be easier deleting one at a time. Why does that delete the entire face? It really shouldn't. Wow, that is aggravating. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna delete everything that's wrong and refill in the faces after the fact. You know, maybe the mistake to begin with was doing the subtraction. I don't know. It's almost easier just to recreate the legs from the beginning at this point. I'm going to do exactly that, because this is getting silly. Let's reseat it. Okay. The seat still has those holes drilled out of it. You know what? Let's start everything over from the beginning. Alright. So we're going to want to first be in edit mode and select some faces. Deselect the chair parts. These guys can come too. And we're gonna separate the selection. Now we have legs. So at this point, I feel like it's almost easier to lower the legs than to deal with all this crap. We can rescale it after the fact. So do like 0.6 legs, and then we'll just do 0.6 height. And that's probably not right. See, the top face has been removed. That's good. But we aren't quite there with... Oh, wait, was that... 0.5 is exactly... Okay. I'm okay with this. There. That should be fine. Now the back, I don't think we have any choice but to do the subtraction. Get the model right. Let's go back into edit mode. And just select the back faces. Separate the selection. Now we have back of the chair. And do a subtractive modifier on the bull. Yeah, there we go. On the seat. And if we make the seat invisible, that looks right. I'm okay with that. It probably had to do with the overlap threshold there that I just changed without saying anything. Dang it! Delete the face. There we go. We only need these faces showing. Now all these guys can be... Dang it. All these guys can be joined together. Control J, right? Control J? No mesh data. What do you mean no mesh data? Oh, I guess everything's just the seat now. That's fine with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and save. Oh, okay. No. Control S, not S. I'm not trying to rescale this thing. And let's export it out to our OBJ. I hope that's what I remember choosing. I don't know. Is everything still a wood 1? Yep, everything's still wood 1. Okay, so that's right. So let's go back up and do our, what was it, wood chair? I think it was wood chair. Scale 16, probably too big either way. /furniture, wood chair. Oh, there we go. Here's the wood chair. Copy it in here. Load it up here. And see what it looks like inside the engine. What went wrong this time? Why isn't it working? Is it too big? Is it too small? Scale wrong? Did I misname something? Is the name too long? Maybe the name's too long. I don't know. Maybe that's it. That's what was wrong last time. Wood chair is a lot of characters. Let's just try W chair. Let's go back over here. 0 keyframes. It's inside of furniture. Ugh. I don't know why that happens sometimes. So let's lower the scale down to 8. Gonna be small chair. And then we'll do W chair. Seems to have worked. And go over to CD. Okay. Still not there. And I cannot figure out why. Maybe the mesh was just slightly too exact. Like things are... Well, that shouldn't change anything, I don't think. It's using the same texture as the other one. That shouldn't be the issue. It's literally just the only difference is that I added a back to it. So if we go back to stool, it should just run just fine, right? Oh. Yeah, so the stool's rendering. Kind of big, but it's rendering. I believe that was rendered at 16. I can double check by just checking the header file. So let's go right quick over here. Looks like the biggest unit of the stool was about 11 or so. So maybe it was rendered at 16. That sounds about right, probably. I don't need to be messing around in this file anymore. So I don't know why the stool itself is loading and the wood chair isn't. They shouldn't have any functional difference, really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate the chair using the stool file. All I'm going to do is just put that back on. All right. Let's lower that back down. Feels high, you know, I think about it. How close does that need to be, really? 1.3? That's about right. Let's move it back a bit. So here-ish. So 0.4 is good, I would say. Let's do a little PewDiePie here. Minus 15, I think was... minus 10 is actually plenty. Minus 0.45. Minus 0.5. 0.6. That's a bit much. Okay, 0.55. That's good. 1.2. 1.25. That's good. So here's the thing, if I turn off the stool, how much of this stuff is actually left? This much. So let's knock this up about 1 unit or so, or 1/100th of a unit. Do the Boolean modification. We find the difference between that and the actual stool part of the stool. So we've clipped it a bit, and now we can lower it back down that tiny increment. That'll basically be invisible, I hope. Let me render it. Everything should still be everything should still be wood 1. That's wood 1. This is all wood 1. Let's join everything in object mode. Well, not the lamp. I want to join the lamp. Oh, can you guys not see the blender? Crap. Sorry. Join. Is it Control J? Oh, okay. Join for real. Control J. J, Control J. It's not working. Why can I not join these guys? Is it because this guy has a... Thing is, this overlap should be just enough for them to be touching, so I don't think that's the issue. So if I turn off the stool, you can see there's that little bit extra there, so they should be able to be joined together without too much of an issue. There we go. Finally. Seat. Let's call it chair, actually. Okay, everything is wood 1. That's what I want. Save this. Oh, crap, I ought not have done that. Okay. Well, this is now the new file for stool. I should have saved it as chair. Okay, export. W chair. And we'll go back to execute 0 32 in/furniture W chair. Yeah, it's picking up the texture with 3 more colors than I remember. Okay, binary file created. W chair. Transfer over to CD folder. Get rid of that for a second. Let's try W chair, see if that renders right. Okay, chair's upside down. That's a familiar issue. But here we are. There's the whole chair. I'm not exactly sure which thing I did fix the issue that was there, but the chair is present. And it is looked exactly how I designed it to look. Let's go back and re-export it properly, just, you know, to reinforce the right way of doing things. Or presumably the right way anyway. We need to flip around that export access. So Y up is currently positive Y up. Let's do minus Y up. And I'm pretty sure that the back of that chair was not where it was meant to be. So let's do positive Z forward. see how that works. And I think that's it for the 3D models for now after we get this thing running. So let's do one last export. 0 in, or no, sorry, we don't want, what size did I make it last time? Let's just try 16 as a size. Hopefully it comes out to like a reasonable screen size. Furniture. And I'll have, okay, all right. W chair. All right, it's created. Here's our W chair. Wood chair is garbage. We can't use it, so might as well delete it. Place, and let's run. Yeah, of course Sigwin's gonna complain, because be a proper stream without that. Up, and there's the chair in the exact orientation I wanted it to be in. Back to the back, front to the front. I'm happy with this. I'm not happy with how high it is, but you know, what am I going to do? And this is a scale I believe of 16. So in reality, we probably want to go a lot smaller. Or maybe I made the model too big. I'm not sure. I do see a little bit of the sorting issue on the bottom of that the back of the chair. And I'm not sure if that's even fixable at this point, because you have to, I'd have to do some very specific things with the Z-sort just to get this thing running properly. So I'm not sure. So you can see the line on the side of the chair for that quote-unquote texture that I made. If I rotate a little bit, that line disappears. That's because that back of the chair is overriding it. It's being drawn on top of it, which it really shouldn't be, because it should be behind it. But overall, if this was rendered a lot smaller and in a busier scene, it wouldn't be as distracting. It's around 10:30 and viewership is dead, and I haven't accomplished everything I came out to accomplish, but I've got 3D working, which was like my entire week of just crying, or not literally crying, but you know, basically just banging my head against a wall. Trying to get this thing working, and now here it is, and I can create models live on stream, which is pretty much all I really wanted to do. So the next step for me is to dig through Ponut64's code and try to integrate it into my own code, and maybe that'll be the point of the next stream. And obviously you want to clean things up a bit, so I'll come up with some nicer textures, or yeah, for 3D art assets. I don't want this thing to turn into all art assets all the time. This was just, you know, just wanted to do 3D for tonight. So I'm gonna do some 3D, well, not 3D assets. I'm just gonna make a bunch of assets during the week to use, and then next week, probably let's try to make this a Friday night at 8 thing. I think that's a sustainable time for me. I'm going to try to take whatever assets I make during the week and focus on translating Ponut64's code into my own code base, into a way that I can manipulate it and handle it and understand it, and hopefully explain it. And then I'll start trying to make some basic 3D scenery. And maybe I need to look into XL2's map editor, if not Joe Engine's map editor. Though I'm pretty sure XL2's map editor with his FPS demo is exactly what I need to be using, but not. So I guess next time, the actual code behind getting this thing to run. Because it's probably going to take me a few hours just to dig through all that, and I spent most of what I had scheduled for tonight just playing with chairs. So I guess see you guys next time.